Stop everything you're doing right now. Listen to this. For those of you who don't know who I am, and I don't blame you, I mean, I wouldn't be up this early if I was going to bed at 1 in the morning. Two major fires under investigation in Troy tonight. The first taking place just after 10 this morning in Lansingburg.
It's that stipulation, that cap on outside income that has some lawmakers scratching their heads. The activist and actress Cynthia Nixon believed that the polls and research could be wrong, that there would be this progressive movement, a wave of newcomers.
I want to get you brought up to speed on the breaking news we reported out of Albany. Police are now telling us a 33-year-old man was shot. He was hit in the leg when he was on Clinton Avenue.
He was taken to Albany Med with what they're describing as non-life-threatening injuries. Still no word on who fired the shot. The car Samantha Josephson got into had the child safety locks on. Now, this will vary from car to car, model to model, but for the most part, it is located right here. Not a bad idea to check it before you get into someone's car. Are lawmakers going to see how these projects will impact their state, their constituents, and then maybe take that into consideration before they vote to override the president's veto? Last week when it was Pie Day, you said it was your favorite, and I thought, and then I actually didn't know what Neil liked, so I asked our producer, Isabel, I said, what does Neil really love? She goes, peanut butter. YouTube sensation.
Good job.
Feels good to say. Big Board Sports is next on News Channel 13.
It's great to have you back, Karen. You were subbing on the morning show there for a couple of weeks.
It's nice to get some sleep.
Very good.
And to be back with you guys, of course.
We've all heard it before. A blaring ambulance siren means move aside, help is on the way. But sometimes it's the person sitting behind the wheel who may need it most.
I remember leaving the station, lights and sirens, and then waking up in front of the house of the patient. I don't remember driving at all, and my partner was asleep next to me.
An EMT at Mohawk Ambulance for 2 years, Alyssa Bevilacqua-Schufelt explains the terrifying moment she and many of her coworkers have experienced as micro-sleeping. Last year, Alyssa and ambulance driver Cody Bryans were sent to transport 64-year-old Chris Arnicke from Albany Med to his home in Sloansville. They never made it. Bryans fell asleep at the wheel.
And I felt a big bump, and I thought it was a pothole, and then we just smacked into a tree.
Arnicke died from his injuries. Schufelt is still trying to recover from PTSD.
Alyssa, are you scared of the same thing happening again that happened last year?
Absolutely.
An accident investigation report found Bryans was 8 hours into a 12-hour shift, following a 14-hour break. But Alyssa says with EMT wages averaging $12.51 an hour, many employees work multiple jobs in their time off to make ends meet. A sick call results in short staffing, which can lead to mandatory overtime for the coworkers who are already on the clock.
I've been on work binges where I would work for 14 days straight and have a day off, and then work another 7 days and get a couple days off, kind of for months.
Or else what? You said disciplinary action, right? What happens?
So they'll get rid of us.
They'll fire you.
There's no law that establishes the amount of hours an EMT can work. Companies are free to dictate their scheduling and pay standards and do so with the union if one is involved. So while their intentions may be to serve and protect, if an EMT is tired, there's a good chance you're putting your life at risk the next time you dial 911. But there is much more plaguing the EMS industry than just low wages and the need for scheduling standards. Coming up at 6, I investigate what those other issues are and what needs to be done by the state to begin to address them.
I mean, our job, as corny as it may sound nowadays, is to protect the citizens of the United States.
Special Agent Darren Semperbon is a 30-year veteran with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. But in order to keep his job, he has to take a physical fitness test, or PFT, every year. It's the same test required of all applicants.
This is a doable test, and it's really hard, and we're not saying anybody can just come right out and do it, but it is very much just as mental as it is physical.
In an effort to drum up local interest, as the agency hopes to hire 1,000 new field agents, members of the media were invited to take the test.
I thought it was crazy. I mean, I thought I was in great shape until I did that, and I was doing the same thing as some of you do. I was dry heaving over in the corner thinking, oh my God, this is incredible.
Come on, push it up.
An applicant must first complete a maximum number of sit-ups in 1 minute. I managed only 28. Next, a 5-minute break, followed by a timed 300-meter sprint. After another 5-minute breather, a maximum number of continuous push-ups, to which I mustered only 9.
Go, 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 go.
And finally, after 5 more minutes of rest, 6 timed laps around the track.
1.5 miles normally,
very doable. A mile and a half after unlimited sit-ups, 300-meter sprint, unlimited fail, push-ups, and then a mile and a half. What do I look like?
I think mentally it helps you by showing that you can work through something.
1% of applicants actually get into the FBI.
Come on.
50% of that number fail the PFT their first time around. But a recently released app can help you reach the coveted 12-point minimum requirement to pass.
The app is there to kind of like track your progress too, right? So your first workout might be a disaster, but it's going to keep that for you.
As for my shot at heading to Marine Corps Base Quantico in Virginia,
By the look of your face, I'm going to say I did not pass.
it's a good thing I still have my day job.
Oh, man. What was my total point was 1. Oh, at least it wasn't a negative. That's being positive. And that's what's so great about the FBI Fit Test app. You can train for the PFT and work toward improving on your sit-ups, push-ups, and run times. And if you head to WNYT.com, you can click on links and see how the point system is broken down for age and gender. So, guys, I promise the agents I'll retake the test in 3 months to see if I do pass it. Until then, you're stuck with me.